Welcome to the Determined Mom Show, the only marketing podcast dedicated to guiding mom CEOs into tranquility, wealth, and multiplying those precious moments.
Welcome to this episode of the Determined Mom Show. I have a very special guest, Gennye Lion Rainbow Anderson, and she is here to talk to us about how conscious parenting starts with deep inner work on yourself. So welcome, Gennye. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm Gennye Lion and I live in the UK. I'm originally from Sweden and I came to the UK in 1998. I have been on the spiritual journey since I was 15. So always been interested in this. And obviously now I work for the past 20 years. I've been working as a mentor, a healer and a coach, doing the spiritual work and the deep inner work with people, usually women. So I help women become like impactful leaders through deep inner work by really helping them unlock their fullest potential. But I am also a mom or mom that you say in
yeah. We say mom, you say mom.
Yeah. And yeah, you know, this work that I do, I have a lot of clients and I work with them and their children because I don't announce that I work with children, but when they come to me, then if they have children and if there's an issue, we also work on that. So it always starts with the parent, really, if there's an issue. So I find this work, it's incredibly rewarding and really liberating and you know, very unlocking for the parent and the family unit. It's incredible. So yeah, very exciting. So
that's awesome. Yeah, thank you for being here. And I wish we could go back like 30 years and you could do that to my mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Undo all the things that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like undo all of the stuff. And then like now we can see what happens now, you know, like what would my life be like? But I'm totally, yeah, exactly. I have a plan to work with you in the future, but I'm literally just starting, you know, my journey in clearing my energy blocks and things. And I am part of your membership. So I love that part and I am loving it so far. So if you're looking for a way to get started in that, Gennye has an awesome membership.
No, I really love the membership and the people really love it as well. So it's a good way to get started. Yeah,
it is. It really is. Let's talk about this. What is conscious parenting first? And then we can kind of move into that work can help us to get there.
I really do believe that the children, they do trigger our biggest wounds. And we may not see that when it actually happens because we are like stressed or we feel angry about something else or they're pushing our boundaries and they are, you know, all these things. It's kind of, I think most parents actually know, oh yes, the children are there to teach us something, but we don't really understand what it is always. Conscious parenting, for me anyway, means that I am able to go back and reflect on what happened if there is an issue with the children and then go back to myself and see what it is in me it triggers that is not healed or that has like bringing up some memories about something, you know. And then when I figure that out, go and address that.
By addressing it, what will you do after you're like, okay, it's like, you know, the first step in AA is acknowledging that you have a problem, right? So we figured out what the problem is. And then what is that next step?
So addressing for me, sometimes bringing awareness to it and then go, okay, I can see that now. Why? It's probably because I am stressed right now because I had very little sleep this week. So then I don't really need to heal that. I just need to make sure I sleep better. For example, okay, so I think children always push boundaries anyway. You know, they do because they're checking how far they can go. But for me, certainly it's like I'm an empath and I've had to really learn to put boundaries in place, not just with the children, but also clients and, you know, in my life and my parents. So because I'm this empath.
Yeah.
So like, you know, so that is always a big lesson. So I always think, okay, so how can I then increase that boundary without being like mean or something? You know, I just want to, you know, you still love when you put boundaries down. Now, if there's another issue, for example, if there could be some trauma, so then I just have to practice boundary. In the beginning, when I was a parent, I was like, okay, I felt it's quite hard to be present and really enjoy like the parenting side of things and really like engage in games and things. I had to start healing that. And what I realized was that because my mother worked full time and my dad wasn't really present, although when I did see him, he was present. So it was fine. I was on my own a lot. I didn't really have any adult to stimulate me or anything like this. I was in care all the time. So I realized that obviously my inability to really, really engage with the children on a really deeper level was because I was never engaged with on that level.
Wow.
So then I've had to go back and go, okay, so how can I do this, make it fun for me as well? Because I don't like doing things that I don't really like doing. So
yeah,
so it's like, well, we can do Lego, but I don't like things.
Yeah.
So then I direct the game with the children so that I do something that I also enjoy, because I think that's important. As parents, we shouldn't feel guilty if we're not liking a specific game because it's just kind of like you don't like it. It's not. So then really, so I suppose healing my own past trauma. So I am a healer, and I've had a lot of work and deep inner work with the, I suppose, abandonment, really, isn't it? Although I wasn't abandoned, that is the feeling of abandonment when your parents are not there. So then I've done a lot of healing on that, and now it's fine. Like I don't feel like I can't engage. I feel very engaged on the level of where it's interesting to me, and then I also keep clear with the children that these things are not so much fun for me, but we can do this instead. So that is fine. Like it's not a problem. Yeah. But so what I mean there is that there's different levels of triggers in you as a parent that also can make you feel quite guilty if you don't feel so engaged or doesn't feel so stimulated because someone or society or some parent blog said that you should play with the children all the time. I don't know. Yeah. And then you're like, oh gosh, I'm not enough. But you're always enough. That's another thing. So all parents I speak to is like, you're always enough, and you always have to be you as well. So all my clients, I encourage them to not share their work maybe with the children, but really let the children know what they do and what the parent love doing. That so that they're not just parents, they're also maybe a coach or a healer or a creative or something else, and then involve the children in that if they're interested. Really important to show the children that you also are another person than the parent. And it's exciting, isn't it? Because then they learn more about who you are.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so it's just involving them in your life instead of being led by their command. Really, it's the other way around.
Oh my goodness. If I was led by my kids' command, like I would just sit there and like play video games and LOLs and everything all day long. And I'm like, I can't do that. No. So we instituted what we call mommy time, which is like each kid gets like 10 minutes by themselves every day. I want to go back to two different points. One is I really have been doing a lot of work on boundaries, and living 3,000 miles away from my family for 6 years really helped with that. But I really feel like those boundaries that you put in place are a way to show other people that you love yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all about self-love.
Yeah.
It's all about self-love anyway.
Yeah, because you can't do everything to please everyone. I've just learned that, by the way, in the last year. You can't. And then the other thing is you were talking about like being at home alone all the time and like, or being in daycare. And I think that's literally like the issue of our generation is those like abandonment issues, because we were all like latchkey kids. I mean, I grew up here in the US and we had that same thing where we were latchkey kids, and almost all of my friends were. There was like one or two that had the mom that stayed at home, but in the 80s that's what was happening, so I think that's probably one of the biggest things that our entire generation has to heal, is fending for yourself from a very young age kind of.
I think it has to be a combination, the stability of the parents at home, whether they are engaged with you all the time. They wouldn't be. The presence is really grounding, for the children. So this whole working at home business, I think is brilliant, because then you have to find really good boundaries from working from home. But once you've got that sorted out, then you can really say to yourself, okay, well, working from home is actually not a bad thing. As soon as you work from home and you have the children close and you can just come out of the room when you're finished, your presence is there. You're still there. I think
that makes a huge difference.
I think in the lockdown actually is obviously you need to find that boundary, so that they don't they know when you're working and stuff. But it's I think it's a good thing, have you're there, you're more present, you're not away from the home, or you're just more present. And I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I know my kids are desperate to go back to school because they want like interaction with other kids. They're tired of us probably, but I really love just being able to be here. And like, even when they are in school, just being able to pick them up if they're sick, being able to attend school functions, pre-COVID, it was still a huge deal for me to be able to work from home. And I'm sure you as well, because when you have young children, you have to have that flexibility.
And there wasn't really a fine balance before, I don't think. It was almost like you either work from home with very limited resources, or you just don't work and you stay at home. Many mums still do this in the UK, where the dad works and the mum is at home. It's quite common, actually. And they might do a little job. But since COVID, so many of the mums there have got really sort of either great jobs or their business, and they work from home and they can do all of it now. And it's like, wow. So I think it's a good thing.
I've seen COVID as a blessing, and it's also brought the world and made it a lot smaller, because people that weren't online before working are now online working. So it's broadened everyone's horizons and brought a lot of people together. It's just so cool.
Yeah. So it's amazing. I think we're in a very specific time.
None that we would ever have imagined. Clearing the blocks. So we're acknowledging kind of like when our child triggers us. Why is this triggering me? Does it bring up any specific feelings or specific thoughts or specific memories? Mm-hmm. And then after acknowledging and figuring out what that memory, thought, or feeling is, then kind of working through that and releasing that and realizing like, oh, this is because of this, and, just clearing that out. Is that really the process that we need to go through?
Exactly. I would say any conscious parenting books are great. I read Dr. Shefali. She's very good with the conscious parenting. She's very spiritual, and I love reading her books. I think reading books and then acknowledging, I don't really recommend like therapy. I recommend healing instead, because it's much more effective and quicker. Some people prefer maybe counseling and things, but I don't work with that. If there is a subconscious belief or a trauma that is suppressed, or something inside that you feel is there and you just know it's from the childhood, I recommend then to have some work with somebody to release it. Obviously, coaching can also help to uncover old subconscious things that are blocking you from moving forward as a parent. I believe the self-love element is like huge, because you can only give from a full cup. When you do that and you show your children that you honor and love yourself, they will do the same when they become parents. If they see an overworked mum who's stressed, never takes care of herself, maybe comforts eats, not meaning that anyone's overweight, but just kind of like just see these patterns of stress and tiredness, then they think that's what the norm is, If the parent is like, no, it's mum time, I'm going to have my massage, I'm going to go and do these things, and you feel good when you see your children, it's like much a lighter environment for them to be in. So they will, they will think this is good, this normal. They learn what they see, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they just copy behavior.
Yeah, and language too.
And language, of course, copy language and behavior. So, I think it's really important to take care of yourself as a mum. There is also another book that I really like, The 5 Languages of Love. And the 5 languages are touch, spending quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, and gift.
Okay.
So for my daughter, for example, it's the time, quality time. If I never gave her a gift apart from Christmas and birthday, she doesn't really care. She just wants to spend time with me. That is her one main language.
Yeah.
And apparently up till they're about sort of, I think maybe 9 or something, they need all of those 5 things more. Yeah. And then as they get more into like an adult, a little bit older, they will then become more refined in their love language.
That's interesting.
So they kind of need all of them, of course. They need touch and say that you love them. But as an adult, actually, as a family unit, it's really interesting because mine is acts of service. So if my husband doesn't take the bins out, I get really annoyed. If he doesn't give me a gift, I'm not bothered. Like it's nice to get a gift on Mother's Day and it's nice to get a gift on those type of times, but
Right.
So that really works. And his is touch.
Mm-hmm.
So if I massage his feet, he's like, oh my God. He's like, oh, I feel so loved.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it really worked for family. Yeah, family for harmony. If you find out who all of you are, that really works.
Love that. I kind of already know, like without even reading it, like just from those 5 things that you said, like I already kind of have an idea of, definitely.
It's easy to implement. So if people are listening to this and think, where do I start? Okay, we'll just go and do a test and start checking this out and see how that works. And if you spend more time with that specific daughter that you're having problems with at the moment, maybe it will just resolve by just spending more time with her. Naturally, just resolves itself.
That's a great tip.
Because sometimes the simple things, so I know that for her. So as soon as she's gritty, I'm like, do you want to go on a bike or do you want to be with me? And she's like, yes. She's very, very conscious and very emotionally mature. She's only 12, but she knows what she needs. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And having a parent like you that has that experience and helps foster that helps a lot, I'm sure.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. She's got really strong boundaries as well because I'm teaching that now.
That's great.
Yeah,
I love that. Do you have anything else that you would like to share with the audience about conscious parenting?
Encourage your children's intuitive gift. Of course, if you, as a parent, feel intuitive and you're into the spiritual things, I encourage you to encourage that for the children as well. Mm-hmm. Because really, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, not the other way around. So children are often very open, and then when they get closed down, they lose the mojo. Not to lose the mojo, but they lose who they are a little bit, and then they feel lost. But if they connected to their higher power, because they are when they're very little, then they feel more guided by this. And then they can actually make more wise decisions in life.
Love it. You're full of wisdom. I love it. So let's talk about, you have a book that you have.
Warrior Women with Angel Wings, which I've co-written with some other ladies. Mm-hmm. It's the silver lining.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want to talk about is, because I have personally experienced it, how can people work with you, and what kind of things do you offer for people that are ready to take that next step and clear out their energy and start clearing the blocks?
When I work with people, if they wanted to work one-on-one with me, I always allow them to have a session. So we check everything out. I let them fill in all the forms, and, it's like an assessment basically. And then we do one session. And then after that, we decide on some sort of program. So it'll be either we do 6 sessions or we do 12 sessions, normally 6 or 12, because I try to keep it simple, and then work with that. And then often because they're doing that, they also get access to the Ascension Clearing Kit, which is actually inside the membership that you are a member of. And I give them, they have access to that for life. Often they actually just join the membership anyway, because they think, oh, well, I'm having all these treatments and sessions, I might as well learn about the other things in the membership, because there's also videos there about soul business and entrepreneurship, being in that space, and the clearings and meditations and everything. It's like loads.
There is so much in there.
Yeah, so that's what they normally do. I do have a business program, but it depends on what, how they come in, what they need. Often what happens is they go in the business program, they realize they need to clear on the deeper levels, and then they do some work with me, and then they carry on with the business at the same time, or the other way around as well. Actually. Yeah. Sometimes they come with a box and they go, I need energetic marketing and energetic business help here. So I'm going to do that now. So, yeah.
I'm kind of curious. Do you feel like it's better to come in on the personal end? Just, start working on your personal stuff first before you start working on that business side?
It depends on how much you've done before. If you've done very little, and that's no judgment on that or anything. It's just like some people just haven't started yet. If you feel that you have some blocks, and they could be then trauma and childhood stuff and other things that you just think, this is just ridiculous now, then obviously I'd say yes, start with a personal journey first. Often what happens, a lot of my clients, they come in, sometimes they come from an ex-corporate environment, or they come from a different environment, but they're having a spiritual awakening. So they are thinking, oh, I feel like I need this. I need light body activations. I do those and divine healing and need this deep coaching. So they do that. And then as they start that journey, because they're opening up more to their highest self and to their divine power, as I call it, or divine guidance, then they get so much guidance from their soul, really.
Yeah.
And what could potentially happen is that they then start channeling their business. They channel everything they're supposed to be doing. They connect deeper with their purpose. They become really sort of confident in what they're going to do because they feel so certain. It's like it builds this certainty. And then they go off and take action. And because of the block being cleared, they also feel less in procrastination because they just feel not blocked. So they will just go and do it. Off they go.
Yeah.
Start creating all these amazing things. The results really is, in very simple words, unlocking your absolute fullest potential.
I love it.
It's very exciting. I love it. I mean, I watch them and I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Like they are so flying,
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm totally starting. We just had a conversation before we started recording, and I've only done one of the energy clearings. And so I was asking questions about it.
Just do them for now. And then, I had one lady in there and she joined the membership at the entry, like last year when I started, September, October. And she is so committed to the clearings in there and everything else that's in there. She comes on every group coaching. She comes on every live meditation. I mean, honestly, she now has started her online business. She's making a lot of money, and this is just from doing this with me because she had nothing. She couldn't invest $10,000.
Yeah.
So she did what she could with what she had. And she is like doing this. I'm just amazed. But she's very committed then to everything that's in there. If somebody is committed and they do it, they can just transform a lot from simply just doing the things in there.
Yeah, doing the work. It is work, exactly. But it's not like heavy lifting. It's like inner work, right? Yeah,
it's inner work. And, obviously she follows everything in my Facebook group as well. And she just, she responds and she go back and do her journaling. She's just really committed. And she knows she's making money now. So she has spent a little bit more with me. And I'm not even worried about that. I'm more like excited for her that she's doing everything so well. So yeah, it really is possible if somebody is curious and thinks, I can, I want to start. And then get started that way. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. All of it. Well, I'm sure we only got like a drop in the bucket of what your infinite wisdom is, but I love it. And where is the best place for people to connect with you online?
My website is gennelion.love. So exactly how I'm spelled, the name that you spell my name, gennelion.love. And then I have my Facebook group. I am on Instagram and all the other places, but really my Facebook group it's facebook.com/Gennye Lion. Okay, that's where I hang out most of the time.
Okay, so and we'll put all those links in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I truly appreciate it. And I am very excited to see and hear the feedback from the guests. And hopefully they will be clearing their energy blocks through your membership as well.
There is a free bioenergy clearing. And that one, they can just try for free. It's one clearing and a couple of masterclasses. They can get into it. And then from there on, they could join membership if they wanted to do more.
Awesome.
This episode of the Determined Mom Show is brought to you by the Google My Business Optimization Workbook. In this workbook, you will learn how to optimize your own Google My Business listing to increase your calls, website visits, and your revenue. TDM Marketing has perfected the art of ranking small businesses on Google using only Google My Business listings over the past 4 years. We've helped hundreds of businesses get into the top 3 and the local pack. This workbook contains every step of our optimization process. We take a holistic approach and evaluate your ideal clients and service areas. This workbook will walk you step by step through our exact optimization formula. This formula has helped hundreds of business owners to increase their revenue, brand awareness, and local and national service areas. Your ability to rank on Google is based on so many SEO factors on your website. With Google My Business optimization and management, you can take a much quicker route to get in front of your ideal, ready-to-buy customers without paying thousands for search engine optimization. You can grab your Google My Business optimization workbook at tdm-marketing.com.